Today on That Ninja Show is a special episode here where I got the opportunity to interview the one and only Sam Firstenberg, director of Revenge of the Ninja, Ninja 3, American Ninjas 1 and 2, plus over 24 movies that he's done in his career. We're going to talk specifically about Ninja 3. It is going to be a two-part episode or a two-part series here. I'm going to give you the first part here to work with and enjoy. And then the second part will conclude with some questions from some subscribers I reached out to. So here on That Ninja Show, Shadow Warrior collectors, buckle up. It's time. That's my cat meowing in the background.
That's good. Why do we have... Oh, wait, let me shut down this window. I'll shut down this window. Too much light.
True to form director you are, sir.
What is this? No, there is a lot of light today. A lot of light. Ah, now it looks good. Or let's say it looks much better.
So what were you working on with the welding?
John, besides, you know, that nowadays that I don't... wait. Okay. Nowadays that I don't direct movies anymore. I have a hobby. My hobby is building furnitures.
Mm-hmm.
So mostly woodwork, but once in a while I try my my power, my knowledge with metalwork, which is different, completely different. And I needed a rail outdoor. We have steps coming to the house, and I needed a rail. So I bought all the metal stuff that I need, the pieces, and that's it. And I welded them together, and the first section is done. It's good.
Awesome.
So where are you in? Where are you?
San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, so but you have a German poster.
Oh, yes. You noticed.
I know this poster. I know this poster.
I've been a collector of all the movie posters, so I've got a bunch of Revenge of the Ninja posters. Most of this one I've got from Pakistan over here. I'll send you a picture of it, but I've also got some from Lebanon and from America as well. And so the movie posters were one of the passions of mine when I was younger. So I was like, started getting more of them as I got older. So
I see. I was in Texas last week. I
saw that. Yes, indeed.
In Denton, Texas, which is actually Dallas, north of Dallas.
Yes, you did the Denton Black Film Festival there.
Beautiful festival, Black Film Festival, beautiful festival. And they screened this Riverbend with Steve James. It was beautiful screening. And but I'm a veteran of Texas because the movie Riverbend was filmed in Texas, in Waxahachie.
I know that area.
So it was in this area of Waxahachie. That's where the story takes place in Georgia in the south, but the money was Texan money. The money came from Texas, so they wanted to spend it in Texas. But awesome. The area of Waxahachie looks very much like the Deep South.
Oh, yes, indeed.
So that's where the movie was made, in Venice, Texas. Most of it, not all of it. Anyway,
very nice.
So, John, you are going so basically, we are doing interview for your channel, for your
Yes.
YouTube channel.
Yes.
I
So
saw the channel. Looks good.
I was going to do an intro on you that I wrote up the other night. And then, yeah, we'll go into some of the questions and such.
Any question you want, go ahead. Don't worry. You can embarrass me if you want. That's okay. No problem.
That is not the plan, my friend. No, sir. So I'll start off with an intro. Good day, Shadow Warrior collectors, and welcome to a special episode of That Ninja Show. Shinobi One here with my very first guest, and an awesome one at that. His directorial career spans over 24 films, which includes such favorites as Revenge of the Ninja, Ninja 3: The Domination, and American Ninjas 1 and 2. He's also a producer and a writer and someone who is well respected in the ninja film community. And he is here today to share with us his time in working on Ninja 3 as we prepare for its upcoming 40th anniversary. Welcome to That Ninja Show, Sam Firstenberg. How are you, my friend?
Excellent. Thank you very much for having me. And hello to all the viewers.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, speaking of, you're at the Denton Black Film Festival, and so with the re-release of Riverbend, was that a massive undertaking? Because I thought I read somewhere where there was like no video footage of it for a while, or there was like VHS copies only or something.
So listen what happened. 1989, I directed a movie which is called Riverbend. And the movie deals with racial injustice in the South. The movie was produced by independent financing. It was not done through a film company, but just private money went into this movie. And when it was ready and finished, the owners, the producers of the movie took the distribution into their hand. Usually the directors are not involved in distribution, and they got some kind of distribution. And at some point, a VHS cassette came through Paramount, which was a surprise. Paramount was a big company. So there is a VHS cassette that came through Paramount. I don't think it was a big distribution deal. They didn't come up probably with many cassettes. Basically, for the home video rental shops at the time, every corner, every street, and every corner there was a video rental shop, and it had some opening. It had some theatrical opening. Actually, somebody not long ago sent me a newspaper clipping from an opening in New York, but it was short opening. It's a difficult subject. It's not easy subject, especially in the 1990s, and nothing was done with the movie anymore after that. So some of the VHS cassette have disappeared, and to begin with, the VHS cassette was not of the highest visual quality by itself as it is. And the movie kind of disappeared. It was the subject. It's not a ninja movie. It didn't have this gimmick of the action movie. It kind of a little bit action, but social drama, and it kind of disappeared through the years. And then there is a entity which is called the Real Black, headed by Michael Dennis, and he decided to restore, to find out what can we do with this movie. Can we bring it to a high definition? Can we bring it to a new level? For a while I pursued this idea to find out where is the negative, where the elements are, or who owns the movie. But I ran into dead ends, no avail. Michael finally found a print, a 35 millimeter print on eBay. Somebody put it for sale, a print of a Riverbend. And this was our first contact to a better quality, because nobody knows where the negatives, so-called the elements are, what we call the elements. And he bought the print. The print was in South Africa. So it was shipped from South Africa to the United States. They are in Philadelphia. Real Black is in Philadelphia. And then he sent it to scanning. To scan it, transfer it from 35 millimeter into a video on a higher definition, on a high definition. Because trying to transfer the VHS looks so bad, really bad. So, and then when the file came, the video file came, it was full of scratches. Not because of the video, because the print was full of scratches. screening 35 millimeter prints again and again and again eventually creates scratches, especially beginning and ending of the reels. So there were a lot of scratches. He found somebody who specialized in removing scratches. So he sent the file to this guy, and he removed the scratches and the dirt and the sound, because the sound was optical. The sound was in the old way, the sound was part of the 35 millimeter on the edge. So the sound had some problem. We fixed the sound, and the print was faded. So we needed to boost the color, the vividness of the color, and it was done. Today, electronically, everything can be done easy, and that's it. So finally, we had a high definition video file, and this film festival, it was just recently finished all this work, and this film festival, the Denton Black Film Festival, which is in its 10th edition, decided to, let's say, to call it premiere the high definition of Riverbend. Riverbend is starring, by the way, Steve James, which is in all the American Ninja movies, yes, in Avenging Force. So it was an event, and we found few people. The film was the movie was filmed in Texas. So I found the producer, one of the producers. She came to the screening, and the daughter of Steve James passed away a few years ago. So his daughter came to the screening it was in his memory. The screening was...
That's amazing. And was it a really good turnout? There was a lot of people that showed up?
Yeah, fantastic. We did two screenings. One was we gave one screening to the University of North Texas, to the film department. So film students came, and we had one screening with discussion, talking, Q&A, the usual talking after the movie. And the second screening was in the festival, in a theater, in a big theater, huge screen. The theater was full, so the word was out. People wanted to come. Fans of Steve James came not only from Dallas, came from far away. One guy came from San Antonio. And people drove long distances, fans of Steve James. They came with posters for me to sign, to autograph. So it was a good screening. And then there was a discussion, a panel discussion of the movie, and turnout was very interesting, because this movie deals with racial injustice in the South in the 1960s. So it's 20 years earlier than we made the movie, or 25. And during the civil rights movement and the Vietnam War. But in light of the changes that have happened in the racial relationship in America lately, the movie has a new meaning than it had when it was made 30 years ago. So it was very, very good. I was surprised. And I was happy to see the movie high definition on a big screen. It was fantastic. It looks better than 35 millimeter screen print.
Are they planning on doing like a digital release or something? Or?
So the plan is to do a Blu-ray, digital, high definition discs. With additional material, commentary, gallery of pictures, the usual stuff that comes out with Blu-ray, and Real Black. They will deal with it. They know what to do. That's awesome. But we are still working on it. The print needs a little bit more work. They are now working on the commentary line. A documentary will be added to it, and additional material. But there are many fans of Steve James who are waiting for this movie, and other people who like movie preservation and dealing with small independent movies that disappeared. And there are a lot, and it can be considered a black movie, because majority of the cast, I would say 90% of the cast, because of the story, are black actors. So it is considered a black movie. So there are people who are interested in this subject as well. They will be happy to. I get a lot of requests, a lot of questions. When can we get a high definition DVD?
I'm looking forward to it, definitely. I think that'll be awesome. And then I know you mentioned some of the fans that turned up. I was going to go, but I had to work that weekend. They always call me in on the moments that I need to do stuff. But But yes, I saw the photo that you posted of the Ninja 3 V8 Juice reference on the
Right.
boards. Plus, I saw some other Ninja movie fans in attendance that got posters signed from you, so that was awesome. But speaking of social media and specifically the Facebook boards, I do want to say that you are greatly appreciated by the Ninja movie fans, and we truly enjoy the moments you do share with us. I when I told a couple of my friends, I was like, I think I'm gonna get an interview with Sam Firstenberg. They're like, dude, no way. So I kept telling my friends that I'd hope to get a chance to talk with you because we really appreciate you being engaged with the fans. So thank you for definitely taking this time with me today to answer
My
some
pleasure,
questions
my
about Ninja
pleasure.
3. It's greatly appreciated.
I do devote a lot of time to this, the whole idea of preservation of the legacy of the action movies, the independent, low-budget action movies of the 80s and the 90s, 80s and the beginning of the 90s. It was a certain genre, certain type of movies that today are considered a group of movies, not only from Sam Firstenberg, but Joe Zito, Sheldon Lettich, other directors, Toby Hooper, etc. It's a group. So I'm engaged and involved in the preservation of this group. And but John, the biggest surprise, really, I'm telling you, the biggest surprise to me that this year was last year was the 40th anniversary of the movie Revenge of the Ninja with Sho Kasugi. And the biggest surprise to me, indeed, that 40 years later, people are still celebrating and the mask. Absolutely, I am mask, one mask. And people are still watching the movies, those movies that we created on a small budget, independent type of movie making 40 years ago, 35 years of anniversary of American Ninja. And this year is the 40th anniversary of a different type of a movie, Breaking to Electric Boogaloo, that I directed.
Yes.
And 2 weeks from now, there is a screening here. There is a theater that belongs to Quentin Tarantino, the Beverly Cinema. And 2 weeks from today, they have a midnight anniversary screening of Breaking to Electric Boogaloo. I will be there, and the actors will be there. So this is the biggest surprise of my life, of my career, that so many years later, those movies are still exist.
Oh yeah.
They resonate with audience. Young people see the American Ninja. There is a new generation of young people who are watching now the American Ninja. Young kids, 14, 16, 20. So this is the biggest surprise of all.
I've told a lot of my friends that are younger than me, it's like I would never trade the 80s for anything in the world. Growing up in that time and being an impressionable young youth. I mean, when Revenge came out, I was what, 12, 13 years old. And of course, before that, you had all the Star Wars movies, and I was captivated by Star Wars. But yes, I mean, you are monumental in bringing, sharing some of these movies with us. And so, yes, even 40 years to today, we're all still very much, had a profound effect on us on how these movies affected us in such a big way. Some of us got into martial arts, some of us got into discipline of whatever lifestyle they wanted to take. And a lot of it comes from these movies. I found that in putting this channel together, I was just like, hey, I'm one person, but I started getting feedback from subscribers saying, dude, I was the same way as a kid, and I grew up and I went into karate and this and that. So it's amazing, yes, to even see like today that people are still into these movies and loving them every minute of it. So
in the history of cinema, once every period, once every while comes a type of a hero. You mentioned Star Wars. Star Wars was something kind of new, was not totally new, was based on other movies. When I was a kid, there was Tarzan. In the 50s, I was a kid, our hero was Tarzan. And Tarzan was a low budget in kind of independent movies, not expensively made, but this was our hero. So here came the ninja, was a revelation for this generation who at the 80s, they were at the age of 10, to 22, 25. So it came right in at the right time, at the right moment. And there was some kind of impression in these movies because it's nice. You mentioned Star Wars, but in the low budget independent movies of the 80s, in our budget, we cannot afford any optical effect, any digital effect. There were no digital effect, there were optical effect, but we didn't have budget for optical effect. So everything that you see on those movies, everything you see on the screen was really performed. So every stunt was really performed. Every car that flies in the air and lands in the water really performed. It's not the Fast and the Furious that cars are going, I don't know, against digital background. It's not the same. So there is some feeling. It's subconscious. You don't necessarily sit there and say, wow, yeah, this is. But subconsciously, as you watch the movie, you start to get the feeling that everything here is really done physically for real. It's not some kind of effect. It's not some kind of. We really, everything was really performed. So as I call it, the audience can feel the pain. If somebody gets punched, you can feel the pain. Or somebody falls from 3 stories, you feel the pain. Because it doesn't have this fancy effect. The feeling is a little bit different. So maybe that's part of the secret. Maybe.
Yes, indeed.
Or probably.
So in the 80s, Revenge of the Ninja hits the screen like a flying sidekick to the face. And then there is a desire from Golan and Globus to do another one, but with some distinct changes. So when they asked you to work on the sequel, and did you have any initial concerns about them not wanting to have Sho Kosugi in
it? Okay, let's just recap a little history. First, Canon Film made the movie Enter the Ninja.
Yes.
With Franco Nero was the hero. So this whole idea of bringing a ninja, somebody from a Japanese mythology into the Western filmmaking, Western type of film, was a revolutionary at the time. There never been done anything like this. There were some ninjas in some Japanese movies, here and there in some Hong Kong movies, but not as a hero figure. And then the movie had some success. The villain was Sho Kosugi. Sho Kosugi is real martial artist, champion, etc. People who know martial art know who Sho Kosugi is. So he was the villain. They liked him very much, the company. And they decided to do a sequel right away because it was making money. So they declared Revenge of the Ninja, but they decided to take Sho Kosugi, the villain, because they were so impressed by his abilities and make him the hero. So Revenge of the Ninja, Sho Kosugi is the hero. He brought his son, Kane Kosugi, to be in the movie. Then this Revenge of the Ninja was for a small company like Canon, was a big success because MGM picked it up for distribution. So now we are talking about a movie, independent movie, which is distributed by a major film company, MGM. And it had a success. For independent low-budget movie, it had quite a success. So immediately they wanted to do a sequel. For some reason, I don't know exactly what, there was some friction between Sho Kosugi and the company, or I don't know what happened. And they decided to make another movie, number 3, with Sho Kosugi, but he will not be the main hero, the main character. And I guess they had a deal with him, maybe 2 or 3 pictures, I don't know. So by then I already made the Revenge of the Ninja. They called me into the office. The head of the company was Menachem Golan, you mentioned. And he told me, we are going to do another ninja movie, but we want it different, not Sho Kosugi, the hero. And for some reason, it was his idea. He said, let's make it with a female, with a woman actress, with a heroine instead of a hero. At the time, there was a little bit kind of renaissance for women. Of course, Sigourney Weaver, of course, Flashdance, that we'll get to it in a second, and etc. Some other movies that ladies led to big successes in the box office. So maybe this was part of his thinking. I didn't ask. For me, as a young director, just making another movie was great chance, because I'm hired. It's not my ideas. The scripts are not. I'm not the writer behind it, so I didn't really care if it's Sho Kasugi or somebody else. And Sho was meant to be in the movie anyway. I knew it. He was part of the movie. So our task, the writer and myself, was to write a script for a woman, but Sho Kasugi still needed to have a significant part in the story. And the writer was Jim Silk. He wrote also Revenge of the Ninja, Jim Silk. So that's how things turn out, that we made this strange or hybrid or different type of ninja movie.
Awesome. I saw an interview with Sho recently where he did talk about Ninja 3 and that
I saw it.
yes, he'd mentioned that he had quit canon for a while too, because I guess he was kind of upset with the situation and such.
Absolutely.
But I was glad to see that he did come back, and do Ninja 3 with you guys, because I thought that he really did tie in, my passion for. I was like, as soon as I got done watching Revenge of the Ninja, I was like, I want to see another Sho Kasugi movie, and I was like, it was awesome that he was going to be in Ninja 3. So as a fan, I was super excited to see that he did end up in the movie after all.
John, there is no question about his martial art abilities. And I'm not a martial artist. I'm not from this world of martial art, but no question about his martial art abilities. And even as a director, when we did Revenge of the Ninja, he choreographed all the martial art fight in the group. He had a group of his students. He was the sensei, and his students came with him. He had a group. There was a core group that was with him all the time. And he choreographed all the fights, right? Usually the way it's done, the martial art fights, the other fights were choreographed by somebody else, by Steve Lambert, the stunt coordinator. So the way it's done, usually they choreograph the fight ahead of time, because we are low budget, we are tight on schedule, we have to move all the time, we have to film, we don't have the luxury of stopping. And so they will prepare a fight. We find a location, they will prepare the fight. The day of the shooting, when I arrive in the morning, they show me the fight. So they rehearse it for me as a director. And I might have a comment, I might not have comment, I might have boosted up here and there or cut this little piece, whatever. But coming back to Sho Kasugi, when he was performing in rehearsals and in the actual shooting, I'm sitting on the chair because it's his show at those moments of action sequences. I'm only with the camera. But just watching him, what a pleasure, because he had the movement of a ballet dancer. His movement on martial art are so precise, so beautiful, the fly kicks, the stands, the different weapon that he was handling. It was so, obviously he was a champion in Japan, and he was, many trophies, etc. And so it was fantastic. When this idea came that we are going to make a movie that he's not the hero, of course he was upset, because after Revenge of the Ninja and the success of Revenge of the Ninja, he saw a future for himself as becoming a star in martial art movies, another Chuck Norris, let's say, okay? So he was upset, I'm sure. And then he finds out that we intend to make a movie with a woman, with a ninja. So he refused. He said, no, it will not work. It cannot work like this. A woman doesn't have enough power of a ninja. And actually, there is some, I saw in some old Hong Kong movies, there were a bunch of ninja women. Oh, yeah. Usually villainous. but anyway, but this was his comment. And he said, no, I don't want to participate in a movie that the main ninja, the main hero or heroine is. So now I'm stuck. Jim Silk, the writer, and myself, we are stuck. How do we resolve the problem and bring Sho Kasugi to be part of the team, to participate and be one of us? So here we came at the time, Poltergeist. I was very influenced by Poltergeist, was a movie at the time. So here we came on the idea that she is possessed. like the Exorcist. She's not a ninja at all, okay? She's the hero. There is a bad ninja. The bad ninja dies. His spirit, he possesses her to revenge. And there is a rivalry between the dead ninja and Shokasugi, the character of Shokasugi, from way back from the historical rivalry. But now he cannot revenge because the ninja is dead, but she possesses his spirit. And at the end, our idea was the end, the spirit leaves her, goes back to the real ninja, and Shokasugi will finish and resolve the problem and save the world.
He liked that idea. Ninja can stop a ninja.
Right. So, okay, he liked this idea. He gave us his blessing, go ahead with this idea, and that's how we continue. His relationship with Canon, not necessarily with us, no, I'm hired by Canon. His relationship with Canon went sour from this point on. So he did other movies, Nine Life of a Ninja, and the television series, The Master. So I stayed, I made more movies with Canon, but he left Canon. He didn't make any more movies with Canon. Now, in the ninja movies, he was not only the star and Shokasugi, he was supplying all the weapon. And I think it was part of his deal, and he was supplying some of the uniform. Like the uniform you have was done by a customer. It's not a real ninja. But he supplied belt and he supplied weapon, and so he was also making money not only from the acting.
There you go.
So it was part of the deal.
Merchandising.
But anyway, we were happy all in all at the end, and he's the main, the saving hero at the end of the movie of Revenge of the Ninja, of Ninja 3: The Domination. In any case. But I heard the same interview that you did, and I knew his discontent. I knew that he didn't like this whole deal.
I had asked him a few questions about Revenge of the Ninja because there were some burning questions I wanted to know about, and of course, like some of his favorite scenes that he did in that movie. But you mentioned Tobe Hooper in Poltergeist, and I love that movie. It was a great movie. Were there other movies during the 80s during that time that you saw that had a profound effect on you, where you were like, that movie, I wish I would have either directed it or I can watch it over and over again, from beginning to end?
Well, listen, first of all, the Ninja 3: The Domination is influenced by Poltergeist, by Exorcist, and by Flashdance all together, and by Sigourney Weaver. You take everything together, so it's a hybrid movie. We brought in the ninja element. I borrowed in from Poltergeist. I borrowed in from Exorcist. There is an exorcism scene in the movie. There is dancing like Flashdance. So I borrowed, and together with the writer, but later on in directing, for many movies, but not necessarily influence. I did not grow up as a young film-inspired filmmaker. I never saw a Hong Kong movie in my life, a martial art movie, so-called what we used to call the kung fu movies, karate movies. I never seen any. But when I was a student film, I saw a lot of samurai movies. I love samurai movies. The Japanese, Akira Kurosawa. So from the relationship between hero and villain, it's the same. The Hong Kong movies I know today they are full of much more action that not necessarily have to do with the story always. Action for the sake of just showing this magnificent type of action that Hong Kong movies can produce. But what I never saw before Revenge of the Ninja. Shokasugi introduced me to the Hong Kong style of martial art movies.
Okay.
Yeah, but samurai movies I was very much influenced by the Akira Kurosawa, but those are classics. Yojimbo, Seven Samurai, everybody, many young directors saw those movies, but they influenced me pretty much in action. But in general, I always like let's say James Bond. I always like the Hollywood. I always like the Hollywood mainstream action stuff. Steve McQueen, Westerns. I grew up when I was a kid. Westerns were our diet of movies. We saw every week we saw a Western. John Ford. I was a kid. I didn't know what John Ford was, or who John Ford was. But with the years, I discovered this kind of movies that the classic westerns were our main diet of movies. Then we saw a lot of adventure movies, as I told you, Tarzan, Sinbad, Hercules, this type of movies, and those are the movies that I guess influenced me, because those are the movies I like. I never liked European cinema. I don't like. I like mainstream Hollywood action and drama.
I grew up
Later in the years,
I too grew up with westerns, and then due to my father, and then it just kind of transitioned on. Watched a lot of Star Trek on TV when I was a kid, a little black and white TV, and then my mom dropped me off to go see Star Wars when it first came out when I was like 7 years old, and it was just like, there was a lot of movies that started coming out in the mid to late 70s and early 80s that just kind of opened our imaginations as a kids, and so the movies that you brought to the table as well, that kind of opened our imaginations. And I think that's why we still get drawn to them today, because no one can ever improve on those things, in my opinion. When I see remakes, I'm like, why fix something that isn't broken?
Absolutely. But there are always new generation of filmmakers and new techniques of filmmaking, and the action of movies of today, they are spectacular in view, spectacular. It's a different type of movie, action movies, but they are spectacular. There are some effects that could not be achieved way back then.
Are there other directors that you watch that had an influence on you and how you directed? Was there someone that you watched and said, that guy's style, I like his style, or anybody that?
No. So I always I group those three. I would group three directors, but of course I saw many other movies. But I would say Alfred Hitchcock, John Ford, and Akira Kurosawa. Those are the two type of filmmaking director. But there are, of course, other director who would do movies like Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh, yes.
But yes, those the three directors who kind of combine drama and action in a very nice, interesting way. Suspense, if you want, drama, chases, action. David Lean, of course, with the big movies. I love those big movies. Dr. Zhivago, Bridge Over the River Kwai, of course.
Awesome.
Yeah, David Lean as well. Absolutely. Later on, much later, but I was already there. When Steven Spielberg came up, I was already a film student. I was on my way. Jaws, I was still a student. When E.T. came, I was already a director, working director. So, of course, I love the movies of Steven Spielberg. But those are obvious. Those are the best of the best,
Yes, indeed.
I cannot name any esoteric, edgy directors. That's not my style. Mainstream.
I know for me, it was Spielberg, Lucas, yourself, Kirshner. Yeah. Ron Howard even put out some amazing movies too. I was like,
absolutely. He's a great director.
Guy from Happy Days is doing some movies. All right. So it was amazing to see a lot of these movies that came about. But even though the main subject of the day is, of course, Ninja 3, as you can tell, I am a huge Revenge of the Ninja fan. Right. I even have one of Shokasugi's stunt swords.
I do too.
Revenge of the Ninja.
The swords that you have in your background, I have two of them, big one and small one, that was given to me as a gift by Shokasugi.
Oh, really?
They are not sharpened. I can take them out, so they were never sharpened. I have a set of this that was given to me by Shokasugi. But years later, somebody sent me this aluminum, the one you're holding, which is a real from the set. I mean, the Shokasugi swords are not used. Those are heavy metal. We don't use them. They are very dangerous doing stunt. So we usually use the aluminum ones that you are holding, which is a ninja sword, straight, not a samurai. Samurai sword has a bend. And right. So this is aluminum, and this was really used. I have one of those as well, but somebody sent it to me recently, not long ago. I never took one for my and sometimes we use bamboo, so the same thing but from wood, to be safe, because you don't want to hit somebody with a sword. And sometimes for very difficult and dangerous, we'll use rubber sword.
Okay.
So of course they are painted silver, they look like sword, but for long shot from far away, and we need contact. If we really need contact, you need the rubber sword. And then when we come to close-up, then we'll use a real shiny steel sword for close-ups, because you cannot cheat with those aluminum for a close-up.
I ended up purchasing this one from my buddy Sean Scott. He's a big collector, and he went to Shokasugi's studio like a while back, and he bought a bunch of these. And so when he decided he was going to sell one of these, I was like, oh yes. I've always been a prop collector of some type, so I was like, I have to have it.
And John, the same goes. I see on your wall you have shurikens.
Yes.
And the same thing goes for shuriken. For tight close-up, we have a real metal, shining, stainless steel shuriken. But when we go back, again, aluminum. And when somebody has to get hit with one, maybe it's from rubber, or from balsa wood, or from wherever, So there are tricks of cinema that you have to be sure about the safety of the actors. You don't want to endanger the actor. So yes, so I also got one or two of those shuriken. I did not collect enough stuff memorabilia when I was directing. But from Ninja 3D Domination, I still have, the one thing that I have is the boombox, the big boombox radio that Lucinda puts on the floor before she climbs up to the, as she's dressed like a telephone technician. And she puts down the boombox, she starts the music, and then she climbs up. I have this box. I bought it.
You still have the helmet too?
I was given, but I don't know. And I found out I still have her helmet, her telephone company helmet.
That picture got posted on the Ninja board.
So there is a picture. Yeah, you can tap on. I'll give you John. I'll give you a link later to the all the photos, and you will be able to use whatever you want in the interview. But so that's all I have left, and I have a sword just like the aluminum sword, just like you. I did not collect memorabilia during when I was working.
We got to get you one of these next.
Yeah, many people are asking me about this. I don't know.
So did you feel that with Revenge of the Ninja that it was, because there were some big movies that came out in the 80s that were sequels. Do you feel like for Revenge of the Ninja, it was part of that sophomore sequel success? Did y'all feel like that was an impactful movie at the time, or?
John, that the three movies, or the Ninja movies that Canon Company made, there are sequels, but they are not sequel in a term of plot or story or even character. They don't follow each other. They just by the title. So they don't. They're sequel, but only by the title. So we didn't feel anything. When we approached Revenge of the Ninja, it was like we have a chance. Not only me as a director, my stunt coordinator, Steve Lambert, Sho Kasugi, the cinematographer, the editor. The cinematographer was David Garfinkel. The editor was Michael Duthie. So we all felt, okay, we have a chance to make a movie. This movie, they're not going to survive. We are going to make a low budget movie. We'll put our heart into it. We'll do the best we can. And it was not tiny budget. We had enough time. This is an 8-week, 6 days shooting, 8 weeks, and 2 units. So it's nice. It's a nice combination. Nice outfit to make a decent action movies. So, but our feeling was that we are making a movie that will last, in the theater maybe 2 weeks, and then it will go to VHS cassette for rental another half a year, and those movies will disappear. The truth is that most of movies disappear. Out of the thousands of movies that are made every year, most of them you don't hear. Many movies I directed disappeared. We don't know. Nobody talks about it. So this was our feeling when we were making the movie. and then it was surprise. As I told you, MGM picked it up for distribution. This was already a surprise. They created this beautiful poster with the red sky and Sho Kosugi flying in the air. This was created by This was created by MGM, not by Canon.
Okay.
And they had radio campaign in English, in Spanish. I was surprised to the attention that they gave the movie, and they opened with 400 print, what they used to call east of the Mississippi, and then they moved the 400 print to west of the Mississippi. For a low-budget independent movie, this is a big opening, and it had a success. The Revenge of the Ninja had a success. So we were, all in all, we were surprised. I will tell you, the truth is that we didn't know, but we gave everything we could. And the one thing that I can say about Revenge of the Ninja, because you're asking me, which probably came from me, I did not want to make a martial art Hong Kong movie. Not at all. I had no interest. I wanted to make James Bond. So here there was an opportunity to take a little bit karate movie, a little bit James Bond, mash them together, mix it, and have the two type of action together. And luckily, Sho Kosugi was exactly the same. He was thinking exactly the same thing like me. He did not want to make a Hong Kong type of a pure martial art movie. This was not in his mind. He wanted to make kind of Hollywood mixed movie. Martial art, action, chases, guns, using guns, using traditional Japanese weapon, martial art weapon, ninja weapon. So both of us, we working together, and as I told you also, the stunt coordinator, Steve, so we're all focusing and going along this way. And perhaps, maybe this is part of the secret of the success of the movie, because it's a mixture, because it's a hybrid. Because it's not, because I think that a Western audience, what we call a Western audience, and worldwide audience, of course, there are fans of the Hong Kong type of movies, definitely, but they are not wide. And this formula that we created opened the martial art movie to a wider open audience, which are not interested necessarily in martial art only, and new audiences. So this was kind of the Chuck Norris audience together with the James Bond audience and the martial art audience, all mixed together. They all came to see this movie, and they were impressed. So the movie kind of worked. So the thing I can say about Revenge of the Ninja, it was a surprise to everybody, including the heads of Canon Film. Everyone.
Love that movie. And then I did get a hold of this off of eBay, and they did say that you signed this at one
Correct.
point.
I was in the. I would say something about the music. Revenge of the Ninja, which has many elements. We mentioned, even if you take the fight on the roof at the end, it's kind of a very urban, not Japanese element, but urban element. You go high on top of the roofs and you have a fight. And then came Rob Walsh with his music. And this music is a genius music for this movie. Really. I don't have to brag. It's not my music. I know I'm not the composer. It's him. He managed to do the same thing, to take traditional action music with the Japanese elements and mash them together. So at some point, this heroic music with the Japanese, with the koto, with the Japanese mandolin, and with the chimes, and sometimes it's a sad music, but particularly there is a scene that Sho Kosugi decides that he goes again in his revenge, and he goes to the temple, and he breaks the seal of the sword, and he collects and he stands up with the dress like a ninja. The music soars to fantastic music at this point of the movie. So this music is really beautiful music, and it stays in character through the whole movie. Doesn't matter if it's martial arts sections, if it's regular action sections. He keeps this mixture of Western music, Japanese music, Oriental music mixed together, and it's beautiful. It's wonderful music. So Rob Walsh passed away. He died.
Yes.
But before, he convinced this company, Saraband, to come out with a disc cleverly because it's good music, and there was an opening here in Los Angeles. The launching of the disc, the DVD. It was one of the comic store here, one of the famous comic bookstores and comic character stores in Los Angeles. And I was invited, but he did not come. Rob did not come. Maybe he was sick by then already. But he sent me. There was waiting for me one disc with his signature. I signed like 20 or 40 ones, like the one you have in possession. So it's real. I was there and I signed them. And then the store sold them, or somebody sold it. Maybe they bought all the copies from the company, from Saraband, and they resold it. So yes, I was there. Exactly. This was the day. And you have I think
Stephen
Steve
Lambert,
and he was with me. And Rob also?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he signed, but he was not there. He did not come. So he sent a bunch of signed sleeves like these DVDs. And Steve Lambert, the stunt coordinator, which is from Los Angeles, or was, because he also passed away, he was with me in this. And we have photos. So later on, you can, if you want, I'll send you photos.
Yes,
of this
indeed.
event as well.
And I agree with you. Music, for me, the key elements that make a great film, of course, the actors, the story, but also the director and the music. To me, it's like if all of those are in a beautiful symphony, you've got the elements of a great movie. And that's what I felt about this as well. It was just everything just fit really well together. Like you said, it was a good combination of these elements here that just made a really awesome movie for a lot of us. And I think it's, again,
and I was lucky,
impactful to us today.
John, I was lucky 2 times again. American Ninja, Michael Lynn, excellent music, heroic music, and George Clinton, Avenging Force.
Yes.
Those three movies have the best music from all the movies I directed.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Indeed. Now, of course, the way it works, there is some collaboration between the director, the editor, and the composer. So, first composer comes in, we show him the movie as it is, or we have some temp music, that the kind of direction that the editor and myself, we would like to go. So, and we discuss, then he will come with some ideas, and we'll listen, maybe piano only, hear what we're going to do, and then we correct it, or, we go through it. But it is the work of the composer, no question about it. It's not our work. But it's a collaborative kind of guiding the composer to the way we see it. And luckily, the editor of those movies, Michael Duthie, was very knowledgeable about music. Had a lot. He used to be music editor way before that. So he had a lot of experience also in guiding, in helping and guiding the composers. And so we worked with them, but they write the music and they perform it later and they conduct it, and they
amazing stuff. Can't go wrong with that.